everyone has a different story, and it's like it doesn't matter. We could interview and we could talk to 20 producers, and they'd all have a different way of coming up to what
Totally.
they're doing. Same
Yeah.
thing with camera ops and like all that stuff. So
Yeah,
I don't know.
definitely.
It's fascinating. People are interesting, and it's like
Yeah.
everyone has a cool story. So
I mean, I think that's why we do what we do, right? Like part of the reason why we love going to work is because we are constantly surrounded by like different groups of people, and
yeah,
like every show becomes its own little family, and you don't really ever get that again. Like every show you do is like its own family. And like I think a lot of us love that about what we do.
yeah.
Yeah, that's why I'm
So,
looking
yeah.
forward to the wedding, because it's going to be like a reunion, and I
I
feel
know.
not on a bittersweet note, like it might be one of the few left that we could all get together like that. Because
Yeah.
everybody's growing up and moving in different directions, so that's going to be
Yeah.
nice. I'm looking forward to it. That's all.
I'll be there in spirit.
Yeah. We'll send pictures.
I kind of like forced my way to be invited too, by the way. I don't know.
No, you didn't, Jeff. You were always going to be invited.
They weren't even married yet. They weren't even. Pat didn't even like it. Like it was like a thought like that came into my head on a drunken after show.
You were technically the first person that was invited to our wedding.
And I'm just like, I'm gonna be invited, right? Am I?
Wow, you were the first person to be invited. I think that's a lie.
No, technically, yeah. Like we were in Louisiana on that show, that Facebook show that we did, and that's when you asked me. You were like, "I'll be invited, right?" And I don't even think we were engaged yet. And
No. It was in Summer House at the
Oh,
hotel.
was it? Okay.
Tim was there too. That's why he was just like,
Okay.
"Hope you guys, you're eventually gonna get married." So
Yeah, you got to tell Tim I said hi. I haven't seen him in years.
I will, yeah.
He AC'd for me like back in the day on Ink Master before.
Oh, wow.
When I was a
and
tech
me too on
yeah.
Housewives.
Yeah, he's a great dude. So congrats on that.
Thanks.
Let's talk about you.
Yeah. And with that being said, you want to get into this?
Sure, yeah.
All right, let's do it. This is Open Walkie. I'm Tony. Got Mr. Jeff Tan over here. We have Torosyan.
Yes.
You said that right? Supervising producer in the field.
Yeah.
Story producer in post. That's awesome. So yeah.
Was that the proper way how to say it? Do you want to clear the air?
I mean, technically my name is Hasmik. My family calls me Has, but everybody in the industry calls me Has.
Cool. I did not know that.
You didn't?
I will call you Haas from now on.
No, it's okay. I mean, all my friends call me Has. Like, it's how I introduce myself.
Okay. All right. Just check.
But yeah, technically, it's
all
like.
Right. And then your last, how do you pronounce your last name?
Torosyan.
Torosyan. Okay. So
I said it right?
Yeah, you said it right. You said it right.
Okay. It's the first name that I was confused. Got it.
Yeah. The whole thing is complicated, but.
Cool. So where are you from? How'd you get started?
I'm born and raised in LA. Oh my God, how did I get started? I guess I took a film class in high school. Well, before my film class in high school, I was in a US history class. I think it was like my sophomore year or something. And we watched this video about the Great Depression. It was like a documentary about the Great Depression and how everybody like had no money, there was like the Dust Bowl famine, like all hell had broken loose in the United States, but then people were still paying like a couple cents to like go to the theater just to escape. And I saw that and I was like, wow, like I do love that. And I love like writing, and I always loved like storytelling of some kind. And I always thought I was going to be an English major. But then when I saw that, I was like, you know what? Like I love television and film, and who knows, maybe I'll be like okay at something like that. And I took a film class in high school and I fell in love with it. It was really fun. And like I decided then that like, okay, after high school, like I'll just maybe go to film school or something and get into the industry and like, be a director of movies or something.
So you were inspired by the Depression to work in TV. You're like, No one's working, but people are still watching film. So I'm going to go.
People in movies are still working. So
Yeah.
there, it's like, longevity in like the workplace. Like even if everything is falling apart, at least entertainment people will still be working.
That's what happened to us the last like 3 years,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, COVID.
Overdrive,
I mean, we were
'cause
still working.
everybody was home watching TV for
Yeah.
escapism TV.
People need it, like you do. I mean, anytime anyone's feeling any kind of like emotion, sadness, whatever, like you do want to watch something, like,
Right.
to either get your mind out of it or I don't know. Like I always thought there was something like poetic about that.
When you took that film course and stuff, like when you said you loved it, like what did you love about it? Like when you found out how things were made, or like
Yeah, I think I really enjoyed like the collaboration with everybody because we kind of just like would get into groups and we'd have like an assignment to like shoot a commercial about like a shampoo bottle or something, or like do a music video. And I remember we picked, sorry, is that really loud?
Don't hear anything.
No, we can't hear anything.
Really? Yeah, you're good.
God, it's so loud here. We did like a music video and we picked Sum 41 to do like a music video. And we had like full access to the high school during class and like everywhere was empty. And it was basically just like mass chaos and people running on lunch tables and like kicking trash everywhere. And it was just like, I don't know, it was like fun to be able to like talk to people and like hear their ideas. And you're like, oh my God, I love that. Yeah, let's shoot it this way. Let's shoot it that way. It was just, I don't know, like, it's like hanging out with your friends and making something cool.
The collaborative like crew mentality, you got like that you got exposed to that early. That's what you found. Nice. Okay.
Yeah. And then so my like first experience on a set is really weird. And
love weird.
Yeah. So I told my family, which, like Armenian immigrants who came here from the 80s, their idea of like a career is not television or filmmaking or any kind of artistry. It's like doctor, lawyer. Yeah, right. Yeah. Asian, same thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not a doctor.
Just, like you're throwing away your life, But I did tell them, and after high school, my family was selling our like home, and my mom's like realtor told her that like there was a company that was interested in shooting a movie at our house. And my mom like jumped on the opportunity and she was like, sure, but can my daughter like work on the movie because she like wants to get into film?
Nice.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's cool.
Well, I worked on it for free, which is fine, right? Because
we've all been there, starting out. Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure. I worked on so many things for free after that too. But
kids don't do that anymore. But
no, which like good for them, Like I'm like, happy for them, sad for us. So yeah, they wanted to shoot at our house. Should I say the name of the movie? No one's ever seen it.
Yeah.
Sure.
I'm going to watch it tonight.
Yeah. No, I think it's on Netflix, or it was for a second. But they shot it at my house. It's called Paranormal Whacktivity.
I'm writing that down. Paranormal Whacktivity.
Spectacular.
It's a spoof on Paranormal Activity. So yeah, I was a PA on that. And they were shooting in my house. They were using our furniture. And I learned a lot, but I did kind of get like fired on like the third day because I got into a fight with the executive producer about the use of our furniture. So
okay.
So you got fired at your own house.
Basically what happened was we're shooting my house. They're using our furniture, right? And like the whole thing was that if we're not using the furniture, we're going to put it to the side, put ferny pads on it, and like protect it. And then I came to set one day and like the art department guy was like running like a blade on like a piece of paper on like this chess table that we had.
Oh.
And I like saw it and it was just completely scratched up. So I went to the executive producer. I was like, hey, why like are we using the table as like, you know, like a surface? It's not, it's like set dressing, you know? And the executive producer just like screamed at me and was like, we're liable, like, don't worry about it. We have insurance. Like, you're just a PA. Like, what do you know? And I'm just like, dude, it's like my stuff. Like, I get that I'm a PA, but like, this is my house. And he's like, go upstairs, pack your shit, and get the fuck off my set. And I was like, of my own house?
Wow.
Like, this is
Yeah.
crazy. Some
random dude just told you to go to your room at your own house.
And I did.
Crazy.
And you did?
And you did.
I was scared. I was 17 years old. I was just like, I started crying when he was like yelling at me. And then I was just like, okay. So I just packed up all my shit and left my own house. But the other executive producer came after me and was like, don't worry about it. Like, he'll calm down. I think he's just really stressed. Like, there's a lot going on. He's like, come back tomorrow. Like, you'll be fine. And I did. And it was just like, we never talked about it again.
Oh, so he saw you on set after you came back?
Yeah.
Oh,
and
so
never said anything again.
Sounds like a typical, like, you know, Hollywood wannabe, like, power move to like, hey, it sucks.
We also used to go to the same gym.
I'm surprised your mom.
Yeah, I was gonna say, do you run into him? Like, have you ever seen him again?
We used to go to the same gym. Literally never spoke to him again, but like have made eye contact. Don't even know what he's doing anymore. Like,
probably nothing.
Nothing.
Yeah, probably.
I
mean, if
he's off being an asshole somewhere. So.
Yeah. I mean, I'm surprised that your mom didn't find out about that, because my mom wouldn't have given a shit and just like walked up to him and yelled back.
Well, my mom wasn't there. There was a lot going on. It was like during the recession, and my parents had like so much going on in their lives. Like, I think we even, now that I am in the industry, so they rented our house for 2 weeks and paid $2,000.
Whoa.
Isn't that crazy? Like, really got taken advantage of.
Yeah.
I feel like porn sets are more expensive than that.
Yeah, well, it was kind of like a softcore porn situation, I think.
The other executive was probably like, dude, what are you doing, man? Like, we got this for a deal. Like, lose this location by firing the girl who lives here.
But I was also dumb. Like, I didn't know how much it costs, you know? Like, I don't know how much it is to shoot at a house. But now that I know.
Well, in the end, you know, you're on this famous movie called Paranormal Whacktivity. You know, and you can say like, hey, that's my house for all the 6 people that watch it.
Sounds like a Discovery show
imagine.
Sounds like a Discovery show about ghost hunters.
It really was. Like, it was horrible.
So that didn't
first horrible experience.
Was that so that was your first experience, but then that was like after your class that inspired you?
Yeah, so that was after my high school elective film class. And then I was a PA on that Paranormal Whacktivity. And then I went to film school.
So it didn't deter you?
No.
Good.
Because then I went back, right? And it was like really fun. And like I got to hang out with a lot of people. Like the gaffer on that movie was like, he was a gaffer on Transformers. And like, you know, I met a lot of cool people. Yeah. But but everybody was telling me like, don't go to film school, like on that set. They were like, don't do it. You don't need it. You don't need it. But I went anyway.
How'd that work out? You just,
How film school?
Yeah. You happy that you went, or?
Yeah. Looking back.
I'm happy that I went because I learned a lot of the fundamentals, and I kind of learned like what I want to do there, because at first I thought like cinematography would be my calling, but once I started learning about the technical aspects of everything, I was like, I'm too stupid for it. Like tech. I'm not tech savvy enough for this. Like, I can't do it.
Geek.
No,
you weren't a geek.
And all the equipment is so expensive, and like any wrong move, like I'm done. Like I used to second AC for like short films after film school. Cool. Yeah. Jeff, you don't know. I actually like when I first started out, I was a grip, and then I was a second AC. And I like was a gaffer for some Disney promo stuff that like my film school was doing, like after like for the alumni.
Nice.
So yeah, that was like my dream. But then I remember being on set of like a short film, and I was the second AC, and I had Zeiss Master Primes
Nice.
with
Nice.
like using, but I know they're like tens of thousands of dollars. And at one point I was like holding it. They're like, hurry up, we need the lens, we need the lens. And I'm like, you know, trying to be all fast or whatever. I tripped and like it almost fell out of my hands. And in that moment, I was like, this is too much pressure. Like I can't handle, well, I know it's like insured and stuff, but still I was like, I can't handle this.
Wait, did you feel that the pressures, the psychological pressures of being a producer are easier than the physical pressures of like the tech world?
Of handling a lens?
Yeah.
That's actually a great question. I think they're different, but for me, like a lens is just like in front of me. So if I mess that up, like I know the cost of my error. You know what I mean? Like if I drop a $40,000 lens,
Yeah.
like I dropped a $40,000 lens. But as a producer, it's like, what can I really screw up? How badly can I really screw up and lose $40,000?
To deter your dreams of being an executive, I don't want to answer your question.
I mean, look, I've been climbing for a while now. I'm every level that I go, I'm like, oh God, this is not at all what I thought it was going to be.
Right. Isn't it like, I mean, this is probably an oversimplification, but like the thing that you could mess up as an exec or a showrunner or something like that is the entire show.
Yes.
Millions.
But I just don't anticipate ever like doing that.
Fair.
I mean, you
Good.
can. Of course you can. Like,
You're the best showrunner ever.
Oh, if ever.
Yeah,
like,
keep that confidence going.
If I'm ever to mentally get myself there, sure, maybe. But yeah. I'm just saying, like, I feel like even horrible showrunners now, right? Like, as the show is happening, they don't know that they're like royally ruining a show, right? Like, you don't know that you're like losing money really, or like that by the time you're done, like, oh, it's going to be a disaster. You're not going to get any views.
There's nothing
like,
physically broken that you could like look at and be like, whoops.
Yeah. Right? And then in that moment, like you like with producing, I feel like there's always another way.
Nice.
Good. Like, I mean, that's a good way to think of it, though. A lot of producers don't think that way. It's like one way, that's it. You got to, you know, be able to roll with the punches.
That was very good.
That's the whole point of like what we do is like, as a producer, there's fires everywhere. So like, how are you going to, you just have to one by one, like go and put out a fire. So if somebody comes up to me and is like, oh my God, like this location dropped and it was like the location we absolutely needed to be there, like shoot at, I'll just be like, fine, we'll find another, like there's always another location. There's always another story to follow. Like there's always something else. But if you drop a lens,
there's always another lens, you know,
but maybe tomorrow, you know, and then like your whole crew.
Right. We won't have that 50 prime.
Yeah. It's like, yeah, sorry, we can't use that today.
Sorry, no close-ups today.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly. So, yeah, I mean, look, I know that there's obviously a lot of pressure for producers, but it's just different. And for me, it was like, I can deal more with that kind of pressure than I can with like the physical handling. That's why I'm not like in the accountant, like I'm not an accountant or, you know, like I don't handle money, like one wrong error handling money. And it's like, I don't know.
Well, you're not a line producer.
That's why I'm not a line producer. Yeah. Because I'm not like,
gotcha.
I just can't do it.
Do you think there's anything that you know, from your like upbringing or like, you know, your growth in your career that kind of like made you prepared to handle those kind of psychological or like, you know, the pressures of being a producer than tech? Because like for me, like, or like and other people that we know, you know, it's a preference too. Like, I mean, I'd rather like I'm slowly learning that now as I'm directing more, that I'm dealing more on that kind of like producing side of pressure rather than before where the camera's on my shoulder and running around and it's a physical thing and getting the shot, you know, things like that. And it's like a learning curve that I'm, you know, I didn't really train for. I was raised to like be a worker camera op, so now I'm learning. Is there, how about for you, is there anything that, you know, kind of like you could attribute to like being able to deal with
Anything
that?
like in your like personal life that you just use to manage stress that you bring to the workplace?
Yeah.
Is this the time for me to say the thing?
If you want to, yeah.
Whatever. Yeah.
Wait, are you guys gonna edit this?
No.
Oh, so it's like you guys just like play it
Yeah.
live.
I mean, hey, real conversations aren't edited, but no, if you want us to take something out, we will.
No. I was just curious. Wow, I should have asked that earlier then. I would have been more succinct with my answers.
No,
like we're gonna leave that in.
Yeah.
Good, because then now people will know that I wish I was more succinct. Anyway, okay, so here's the thing. I am how do you even say it? I'm like a ex-drug addict. So I have had to overcome you know, what I think in my life was maybe like the worst thing that I could have put myself through, you know? Going through addiction is just like, it seems like while you're in addiction, there is no like light at the end of the tunnel, right? So whenever you do surpass that and you go through all the obstacles and you push yourself in a way that you never thought possible and you come out on the other side, it sort of makes you realize that like everything else in life, especially when it comes to work, is like, I can do anything. So if somebody's like on set and they're like, oh my God, the sky is falling, to me, it's never like, how could it fall further than, you know, like the things that I've already gone through before. So it just like, and I think that's prepared me in a way that like, I'm able to keep my calm on set. I'm able to make decisions quickly and efficiently. You know, like it's never, we're making TV, you know, like it's fun. We're having fun. Like there's nothing that can happen other than like a safety issue that will make me ever, you know, lose my cool or anything. And I think that's helped me at work. Like, I don't know. Does that make sense? Am I making sense?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I mean, how long did that, you know, like that addiction last for? A little, you know?
Maybe like, oh God, honestly, since I was like between the ages of 16 and 22. And I was lucky, like I got help quickly. Like, it didn't last that long. I like kind of recognized early on that like, okay, this is becoming a problem. Like I do need help, and I did seek help. And yeah, like I've not looked back really, or like, you know, relapsed or anything. And I can credit that to like my community, my family, and honestly, like my work. Because when I did get clean, like I put everything into work, you know, like, and I built back up this life for myself that I had originally completely lost.
Yeah, so like work helped you with, it was like your outlet to get away from that and kind of focus your mind somewhere else.
Yeah, because I just don't believe that like if I were to be actively in addiction, like I wouldn't be able to do the job that I'm doing. It's just not possible. Like I know some people can, but like for me, I was not a functioning addict. Like I was very much took over my whole life. And I guess you could kind of say like, you know, work for us. I mean, I'll just speak for myself, but work for me does take over my whole life. So it was kind of like, you know, I guess when you're saying it now, like it is kind of like a replacement for the meantime. So I did have to kind of like find a way to find balance. Because when you're replacing something that was taking over your whole life with another thing that's taking over your whole life, is that really the healthiest thing that you could be doing for yourself?
Yeah. What's the stuff that you do now that, like, you know, that gives you that balance? That do some meditation and yoga, because that's what
Yeah. I do a lot of yoga. I wish I could meditate. I wish I made time to meditate, but I do, I guess, in yoga. Like, there are moments in yoga where you meditate. And a lot of it is like truly just like balancing your life. Like, I think that a lot of us in the industry, I'm guilty of that. Like, we don't have balance. Like, if you're working, especially producers, like, we don't clock in and out. Like, I worked on a show recently, the last show that I did in the field, like, from the moment that I was awake until around like 1 or 2 a.m., I was like on calls or working on something. Like, I was on a call till 11 p.m. Okay, so now I have to do the beat sheet. I have to make the schedule. I have to change this, change that. Like, when do I have time to take care of myself, see my family, call my friends? Like, you don't.
Right.
So now I've like put my foot down and I'm just like, I'm not doing that anymore. Like, I'm not going to be putting my mental health and like actual health on hold for
no,
job.
that's great. I mean, be an advocate for that, because that's an issue with a lot of departments too. But I know producers, you do work around the clock and
like live that life, like basically the cast's life. Like, you have to kind of like live through it just to kind of
well, theirs, and then afterwards because like preparing for their life the next day.
Right.
And I think a lot of cast doesn't really realize that, where they're just like, you know, they see us at work, we're on set, but they just don't really realize, like, after the fact, what it takes for us to even film them. Like, it's so much. Like, you're on the set, and then afterwards, your calls, your locations, your scheduling, you're collaborating with the director, the DP, the showrunner. You're trying to figure out, like, okay, this person needs this person needs that. Like, it is so much that it takes up like every thought in your mind. Like, there were times I'll be like on set and I'm like, if I get a text from like my family or my friends and I'm working, like I'm on a show, ignore, because work comes first, right? So you're just like, oh, Jeff texted me, I got to answer that. You know, Mikey texted me, got to answer that. Like, and then all of a sudden 3 weeks have gone by and I haven't spoken to my mom.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of those, it's like, as a tech supervisor too, like when I used to do all those shows, it's, you know, you don't clock out when we call wrap. It's like, I'm on the phone, you know, hours after, you know, oh, we need this. Even like early in the morning when I'm about to get on the train to like go to work, you get called and it's like, oh, can we do this? Can we do this? So it's like that type of position is also like around the clock at some points, you know?
Well, that's
it's
interesting
like,
to me, because I didn't realize that they could do that. Like, I always thought that for you guys, like, you're like on the clock.
Well, it's like it's like they're not supposed to, but you know, sometimes they do ask. And also because, you know, a lot of us are professionals, we want to do a good job. So it's like we can't help but be like, all right, how do I wrap my head around this so that tomorrow, you know, my crew and like, you know, the show could exist.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, well, let me rephrase that. It's like we would do stuff off the clock. That's, you know, we're not getting paid for, but we're still, you know, involved with conversations and emails and all that stuff.
Right.
So just because it's like, if you want to do a good job, it's kind of what you have to do in a sense, but that's also not
I feel
okay.
like there should be a line for all of us. Like, there should just be a line. Like, and it's constantly blurred in what we do, which, you know.
Yeah, it's part of the culture that, you know, has been cultivated past like 125 years of like movies into TV, into like from the 80s into the 90s and stuff, of this expectation. And also like the how we all got started, like the free internships, you know what I mean? Like back when I was coming up, like MTV, in New York, the thing to do was to get an internship at MTV because it was the biggest thing in court, and but it wasn't paid. So there was a time, and possibly still now, that MTV is run practically by free students. You know what I mean? Because that's where you wanted that on your resume. So it's a cultivation of a lot of years. But I feel like, you know, the more people kind of like,
the more you know about it and the more that people talk, that's why this is good. It's like the more that people know about the different positions and departments and having the same issues, it's like, you know, like we've all just been kind of saying like, okay, yeah, this is how it's done, but it doesn't necessarily have to be done that way. We can actually still have lives and, you know. And,
well, how many times have you guys heard the words "pay your dues"?
Oh yeah,
right.
You got to pay your dues. Got to pay your dues.
Right. I believe that to a point, and the point is very short. But like, yeah, you got to know what you're doing, and you know, your first time on set, of course. Like, you know, I mean, you getting yelled at by an executive movie producer was practically part of that too.
Oh yeah.
Until then, you didn't know what it was like. But
no. And then I ended up working for another company where I got yelled at by the CEO almost on a daily basis. So that was really fun too.
Well,
that's actually,
no, go ahead.
What like really made me have a thick skin in this industry, I think, is just like the constant belittling and berating, which I feel like moving forward with, like if I were to be a showrunner in my, you know, dream job, like my goal is to just like treat everybody, you know, like well.
Yeah, like a human being.
Well, it's anything. I think when you move up in a position, it's like you can take the people that, you know, were ahead of you at that one point and be like, okay, I like what they're doing. I'll probably try to implement that in some way. And then on the other hand, it's like, nah, I'm never going to be like that when I get to this position.
Right.
And that's like a mindset that people should have. They should observe other people and what they do and how they do it. And you can take what you want from it and throw away the rest of it, you know, that you're like, nah, that's not going to be how I'm going to run things.
Definitely.
Right.
Definitely.
Yeah. So when you hire us as a showrunner and exec producer, yeah, we'll have a good team of treating people like humans.
Yeah. I mean, Jeff, you and I have worked together. I feel like I'm pretty nice.
Yes, you're very nice.
I don't know.
No, yeah, you're very nice. You do definitely have this, you know what you want, and you definitely have this thing of like, yeah, like it's not the end of the world, and it's good to have like multiple people like that on set because you know it's like dominoes. Once somebody you know throws an anxiety attack at somebody else, and it kind of trickles down. So I kind of I see you don't let that try to like. Yeah. Trickle down past you, at least, you know what I mean, where whatever position you're at. So
you gotta be a good person if you're engaged to Tim Pepin. He's great.
Yes,
he is. But I will say he's like way more calm than I am. Like he's a very even keel, very chill human being.
Okay, there's that balance right there.
Yeah. Yes. I got a little more edge to me, I think. And Tim's always like, you don't have to be so passionate about like all of your thing. Like you can just, chill.
Yeah. I mean, but you guys are both passionate about food. So there's
very passionate about food. Yeah.
There's that. Yeah. But so you had some, job, like odd jobs and stuff like that. But then when you said you were a gaffer, you were second AC, things like that. When did you like fall into kind of like, when did it click and kind of started you on the path that you're on now?
Well, I realized I didn't want to be in the tech world after the whole Zeiss Master Primes lens situation. After that, I was like, maybe something like maybe production, like something in production. But at that point I was doing like music video after music video. And I was like PAing, art PA, camera PA, like just every kind of PA. But it just wasn't consistent. And then I was talking to somebody about how like frustrated I was about not having any consistent work. And they were like, well, there's like at their company, the CEOs of the company were looking for a personal assistant. Not at all what I wanted to do. But again, like paying your dues, get into a production company, put your foot in the door. I was like, okay, fine.
So it's a production company CEO.
Yes.
Got it.
2
Okay.
CEOs of a production company. We're looking for
got your foot in the door kind of thing, mentality. Okay.
Yes.
Go on.
So I did that for a while until the VP's assistant left. And then they were looking for a new like office executive assistant for the VP of the company. And I was like, I'll do it. And so I got to be on Rick Sassen's desk. I don't know if you guys know him. I think So he was great. Like I got to then see like the entire process of like, you know, what a VP at a production company does, like network notes, network calls, cuts. Like it was so exciting for me to do all that. So then I was like, oh, wait, maybe I can be like a producer. So that's where that clicked in. And then there was an opening for one of their shows, Duck Dynasty, for a talent coordinator. And then again, I was like, I'll do it. And so they shipped me off to Louisiana. I was on Duck Dynasty.
They didn't mind you like leaving the position at all?
Oh, they did. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
They minded me leaving every single position as I, wanted to move.
No, but good for you for keep raising your hand. I mean, more people should do that. Try out different things and see what sticks,
I actually did learn that recently too. Like, I know I did it throughout my career, but I've never really been good at like voicing what I want because I'm a little bit like shy or like, you have imposter syndrome where you're like, maybe I'm, like no one will hire me for that. Like, why? Like, I have no experience, whatever. But like recently I've learned that if you're just like telling people what you want and that you're hungry for it, someone will give you an opportunity.
That's what I tell PAs all the time.
That's great.
Yeah.
The more you say it, like that's how I got a job in post now. Like I had no post experience and I've been doing post for the past 7 months, but like I have no post experience, but I really wanted to be in post. And I was just to every single like post EP that I met, I was like, I want to be in post. I want to be in post. I'll start at the bottom. I want to be in post. And then finally someone was like, here's your shot. Let's see.
You got to let people know,
If they don't know, then no opportunities will come for you.
I remember I was a PA on an award show like back in the day. And one of the other PAs was like, oh, don't talk to them. Don't talk to them. And I'm like, why? I'm taking out their trash. I'm going to say hi. I'm going to shoot the shit a little bit. And all stuff. Like, oh, I can't believe you like talk to those people. And I'm like, okay. The next award show, the guy that I was talking to asked me if I wanted to work for him. So I started working.
That's how you do it.
That's how you do it. Just be friendly.
In our industry, like I think a lot of us, like we're around each other so much, like 12 to 15 hours a day we're together. I want to be with someone that I'm cool with and that I enjoy spending time with. Like if we're not going to, be friendly, why?
That's exactly
you could be great at your job, but in the end, it's like if you're not good to be around, then it's kind of like, we're not going to hire you again.
You were treating people like you're treating people like humans, Tony. Like you were like, you said you were taking out their trash, but talk to them like a person.
They're they're a regular person. They have a good job at that moment. And it's like, you never know where you're going to be. It's like, just talk to them, say hi. And you don't have to hound them because that's not the way to go.
Read the room.
Just to be personable. Yeah. Read the room.
But that's kind of like I was telling you that culture that's been like cultivated. Like, oh, if your PA, don't talk to them.
Don't look at them. Don't make any eye contact.
But that's that's a perpetuated culture that is like can be toxic or even less like alienating at times and stuff.
Yeah.
But
I would say the same thing to PAs. It's like I'm never going to know if you want to be in the camera department if you don't tell me. Like I'm the tech soup. If you want to come do that, let me know because otherwise, like I'm not going to be like going around asking 25 PAs what they want to do with their life. It's like I'll give you a shot if you're passionate about it.
Yeah, and I actually love when PAs or APs like come up to me and like ask me for advice or like pick my brain. Like I love that. Like I want to help as much as I possibly can, you know?
Yeah.
Like don't make the mistakes I made. Like let me guide you on this other path, you know? And like if they come to me and they tell me they're interested in like field producing or whatever, great. Now I know that. Like I'll guide you and like, you know, the next show that we do, I'll kind of take you under my wing and I'll try to help you.
Yeah.
Nice.
I mean,
Yeah.
in the end, it's like, you know, especially when you're on the same set, you're all going for one specific like end goal. It's like we're going to try to make the best show we can, regardless what you're doing at that time. It's like everyone should just be like, okay, let's learn from each other and let's teach each other. I mean, it sounds, you know, it sounds weird, but it's like it's so easy that no one really does it that much too, you know? It's like you got to keep going with that.
Yeah. There's always people who are protective of their own and get
Yeah.
a little bit like in their own like, you know, world and stuff like that. But no, it's good to have those
I
mentalities.
hate that. There's room for the table for everyone. Like room at the table for everyone.
Right. And you you got on Duck Dynasty as a talent coordinator or talent producer.
Yes.
Got it. Cool. And then after that,
elbowed my way into APing. Again, they're like, we lost an AP. Who wants it? I was like, I'll do it. Nice. And then I AP'd, and yeah, then it was just producer. Like
right.
Alaskan Bush people. The list goes on. Slowly, like field produced, and then now supervising. Although I might be sticking to post.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So after that stint of like being in the field and, you know, cutting your teeth over there and stuff like that, you decide to make a change and you're now in the post side.
Yes. You know, when you're young, it's like fun to travel and
exciting.
Live out of your suitcase. You know, like I've lived in Louisiana, Alaska, New York, gone to Colombia, did Ancient Aliens, random places. Like it's fun, it's exciting. But I'm, you know, in my 30s and I'm tired. And it's a lot of work. Like it is a lot. Like, and don't get me wrong, post is a lot of work too, but it's just a different kind of work. Like in the field, you know, the last show that I did in New York, like I said, I had no time. Like the only time I had was when I was like sleeping. And that really kind of got to me. And I just realized like, you know, it felt like the higher that I was going, in title, you know, like from field producer to senior producer to supervising, I was like, okay, great. Like I made it to supervising. It was something I wanted for a long time. And don't get me wrong, like I enjoyed it and I enjoyed being on set, but you know, like it was a lot of, it just was like a lot less fun having so much responsibility, you know, like it's just like everything, like I was like the point of communication for everything and everyone. Yeah. And I was like, I don't know if this is for me. Like I wasn't allowed to be as creative, you know, like it was just like phone calls, meetings. And I was just like, I want to go back to like being creative. And then, so I did, like, I took a break. I took like a very long break from just work in general and tried to get into post. And I did. And, you know, it's like a whole new world has opened up to me. Like I had no idea that you could have so much fun and creative input in post.
Yeah. You've continued your growth.
Yes.
In your career and as a person. That's great.
And it's exciting, right? Because it's something new.
Right. Yeah. Because a lot of people get caught up in the, like kind of like the whirlwind of like, I have to be this and I'm on this trajectory already. I can't deviate now because it's too late. You know what I mean? And I even if they eventually they lose passion for it and, you know, they'll eventually hate it and they'll, you're
that's what was happening. Like, I need to say that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, you know, it could be circumstance, but like you could rekindle that passion for, or like, you know, that like kind of like a love for the field again later though. But for now, you're doing exactly what you've been doing, like the story that you've been telling us about your life. You've been, just raising your hand and going this way and that way. And
it's good to be versatile.
Yeah, you're learning. So that's great.
I think that's what's great about what we do is like you're able to, like if you do get stuck in a rut and you're like kind of over it, there are different avenues of like creativity or, like you could still do what you love, but just in a completely different, department almost.
Yeah.
Kind of like learning again and starting over like a little bit from the bottom, but like, hey, if you want to learn it.
True. What are you liking about post now? Or like this new venture, this new,
Well, I love the work-life balance.
Nice.
I get to work from home, which is amazing.
Nice.
And it's honestly like, again, you get to collaborate with people just in a different way, like you're still working with people, you're coming up with ideas like how to mold the story, what's the best thing to pick, like, picking and choosing the stories that you're telling. And I'm learning also so much about the field from post. Because the first episode that I did, I was in the field for. And
so you got to see both contracts.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Okay. But I didn't know when I was in the field that I would be the one in post.
That's good. What a learning experience. It's great.
Oh my God, it really was. Because I shot myself in the foot. Like I was like in the field. It was like a whole thing. Like we had issues, whatever.
Sure.
And I remember leaving set that day, like that scene. And I was like, oh God, post is going to hate us for this scene. But I was like, we did our best.
Right.
And then cut to on post. And I did hate myself for what I did in that scene. It was just hard. We didn't have a lot of time. It was a whole thing. But
sure.
Yeah, like you get to see the mistakes that you made and then you remember that. And like, if I am to go back to the field again, like I'll know what is used, like I'll know what to do and what not to do.
No, that's important. That's important to know.
Yeah.
Do you ever do anything in post where you're like looking at footage and like, oh man, I wish I was actually in the field?
Sometimes. Like, especially the show that I was doing, like I was on Summer House and, Jeff, you and I have done that show for years. And, when you're like in post and you see them partying and stuff, like you remember how much fun we used to have and you're just like, oh,
yeah,
I kind of wish I was there, because it is, there's like a different kind of camaraderie in the field than in post for sure.
Right. So but people also they're not really aware that post has a much larger like avenue for creativity and shaping the show than when you're in the field.
More than I ever even thought.
Yeah, that's kind of like
more than I ever even thought. Like the amount of work and changes that post does to things in the field. I mean, you could just build a whole new story.
Yeah.
I never thought that was possible.
Yeah. My short stint as an editor for like E! and stuff, it kind of like made me, when I went back into the field, not be married and so emotionally invested in my shots. Cause I'm just like, this sunset's great, but it doesn't serve the story. Post is just going to be like,
oh, cut it.
Yeah. It doesn't even matter. Right.
Cut it. That scene I was telling you guys about where I shot myself in the foot, we just cut it.
Right. Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. I worked on it for weeks in post.
Trying to make it work.
We tried every single like order and combination. We tried so much, but at the end of the day, the EP was like, it's not working. Cut it. And you're like, wow, just like that. It's so easy.
It's like that. Exactly.
Yeah. We were talking with somebody else about how sometimes it's like, as a camera operator, you're like, oh, I can't believe they used that shot. It's like you'd be sitting there taking, like, after being handheld for an hour and a half, 2 hours, and you adjust your shoulder. It's like, that's the shot that they used when like, I'm just adjusting when I thought I had time.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's just funny to see what people use and what they don't,
Yeah.
But it actually makes you a better camera operator too, when you actually pay attention to that. Because
That's what I always say to Tim is like, I feel like camera operators already have such an eye for editing that I think that once you learn the software, and it is easy, like I learned Avid, everyone can do it if I can do it. I'm not techie. So
it's not a prime lens. Yeah.
No, it's not a prime lens.
You're not scared of that.
No, but I just feel like, you guys are so good at listening to story and like cutting as you're shooting that you guys would be like so good at editing. Like I'm surprised more cam ops don't go into editing once they're tired of holding a camera on their shoulder,
That's a good point.
That's a move that I want to stop making for multiple reasons, but
you should.
Yeah,
guys, my laptop's about to die. Can I grab my charger real quick?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, we can really edit this out now.
Sorry.
Typical producer.
We could just banter back and forth, you and I.
Yeah, I mean, just you look great today, Jeff.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. You do too.
No, don't say that. Don't say that just because I said that.
You look rested, and you took off your hat for a second. I saw your hair. I'm like, oh yeah, that's right.
A second, yeah, I do have hair, but not that much. The baby hair.
Sorry.
No, good.
No, you're good.
And we're back.
We're back. All right, what's one of the most fun shows you worked on besides Summer House? We get it. That's fun.
Honestly, Alaskan Bush People was really fun.
Nice. Why?
How long were you out there for?
Yeah.
So I did it twice. The first time was in Alaska. The second time was in Washington. Both times I'd say, I don't know, like somewhere between 4 and 6 months each time.
Damn, it's a long run.
Yeah. What part of Alaska?
Puna. It's so tiny. It's like basically, it's like near Juneau, but you have to like take a little seaplane there. It's very tiny. It's like a 2-mile stretch of land, and like that's the town. Very small.
Do you miss that being in the bush?
Yeah.
Look, the reason why it was so fun is because it was something I had never done before. Like prior to that, I was in Louisiana, also fun experience, but like you're still in, a civilization, like there's cars there, like you're Monroe, Louisiana, maybe not, but
I remember that town. That's why.
Yeah. But it's like different. Like Alaska's like I'm doing things like trekking through the mud. It's pouring rain, like putting myself like physically through things that I thought like I could never. But like you take a boat ride to work every day for 45 minutes. There's whales, like humpbacks, orcas, bald eagles everywhere, bears. That's like the danger. There's bears everywhere. So you're just like constantly,
looking out for bears.
Looking out for something that's going to kill you. You're walking through the woods. They're like these giant trees. They call them widow makers that, if you're walking down, it's a dead branch and they're all pointing down like this. If you're walking and there's just a breeze, it could just come crashing down and kill you. And that's why they call them widow makers, because they make widows.
That's interesting.
So just like things that are constantly going to kill me. And I just was like, oh, will I survive this? I don't know. And it was just exciting.
Yeah. It's an adventure.
It's an adventure, yeah.
How many seasons did you do?
Technically, so they like separated into A and B.
Okay.
So like in the field, it was like 1 season in Alaska, and then I did 1 season in Washington.
Got it. Okay. So then that's why moving on to Bravo was a cakewalk.
Yeah, it really was very different. Like, I'm not going to say this story because Tim would kill me, but it was just.
Is this something to do with him?
Yeah, it's like, well, when I first met like Bravo ops.
Oh, this is the story. That's how they first met.
No, it was just like very different. Like I went from like, ops that were cool with like a lot more like crazy things,
Right. Like, things that were going to kill you.
So like, it was just very different to go, and same with the producers, like,
right.
Like we're sitting like on our way to work in Alaska, like it would be gushing rain. There's, you're in the back of the truck, like you're in the bed of the truck, you're holding on. It's like raining sideways and you're just like, that's how you went to work that day. Like, that's just what you did. And then
what production company was this?
Park Slope. But it's only because you weren't allowed to have a certain amount of trucks on the island.
Right.
When you were going to an island, you take a boat, you go on a 45-minute boat ride, you get to the island. There's usually like 4 trucks waiting for you. Some days you get to be in the truck, some days you are on the bed. And it's just random. And then it's pouring, it's snowing. It's like just, the elements.
And then moving on to Bravo.
Yeah. And then I went to Bravo and did a show in the Hamptons. And I was like, what is this world? Like all these operators and these producers who are like screaming about the fact that there's no organic potato chips. And I was just like, what's happening? Like, what a life, what a world.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the best things about production too. It's because everything changes so quickly. And it's like, you got a few months of going just what you explained, like in the back of a pickup truck, all the weather. And then you go to, this bougie type thing, and
that was my first bougie experience. Like I'd only done Duck Dynasty really, like as far as a show, and that's not bougie. Like it's still, element, like you're still in like the woods basically, kind of. But then, doing Summer House, I was like night and day, just star treatment.
The Bravo type problems, yeah.
And then I stayed at Bravo forever.
Nice, yeah. I mean, that sucked you in. I did a couple like day playing stints, and all of a sudden I was on Bravo shows for like 11 years.
Yeah. They keep you working.
Yeah.
It's consistent work.
Right, and then to your point from at the beginning, like the camaraderie and the people, like there was a good like 2 years. I told Pep in this like a while ago when it was like in the middle of it, but there was a good 2 years where we were all just working together, just all friends.
Yeah.
I remember thinking, I'm telling Pep, and I was just like, dude, this is great. And I know this is not going to last. One day this is all going to end. Yeah. But for right now, this is amazing, Yeah. Yeah. I kind of miss it. But yeah, you're moving on to different things and stuff like that. But then now that you're here, you're going to be here for a little bit. Like, what is your like moonshot? I mean, as an EP, do you want to showrun? Do you want to or you want to go back to movies? I don't know. Like,
so I pipe dream. I want to do like scripted series, create a scripted series or like direct in some way. I've been working with one of my friends in LA who's a writer. And we're currently working on a pilot. Well, we finished the pilot, but we're going to shoot a proof of concept short.
Nice.
And I don't know, like I've never done that. It's always been a dream to just, direct a short film, but
yes, you're doing it.
Ones I did was, in film school, which like doesn't really count, but this is, and it's like about something that is like close to me, like close to my heart. So, I don't know. We'll see what happens.
If would Tim get mad if you didn't hire him?
What?
Would Tim get mad if you didn't hire him on your show?
I don't think he'd get mad, but I am obviously going to have to hire him.
Just out of
actually, no, that's a lie. He would probably get mad if I didn't hire him.
Make him F-cam.
Yeah. I'll probably only have like one camera, let's be real. It's a passion.
You're going to be, that's awesome. I wish you luck on that because now you're going to go back into it. You said you haven't done it since like film school, but you have such a plethora of like experience now. This may be easy for you. You may be surprised. So
maybe we'll see. I've never I just can't imagine being able to shoot something that you can shoot multiple times or like a world you have playback, like where you could be like, I watched it, don't really love it, let's do it again. Like, that's crazy. That seems easier to me, but like, who knows? Maybe I'll be like so crazy meticulous where I'm like, we need to do it again. Take 45.
Maybe so. You'll be in the next Fincher doing 112 takes of like something like that. Well, that's awesome. It's great. So that's your moonshot, your pipe dream to direct or produce a series. Doesn't seem that too far.
Like Issa Rae, like to be like Issa Rae, make my own little, like she's,
Would you act in it? too, like her?
A lot of people ask me that. I don't know. I never,
Cameos.
like, acted.
So cameos. Start off with cameos.
Cameos, yeah. But she's like Issa's like the star, you know?
Right. She's like writer, producer, director, music supervisor, actor,
everything.
Editor. Yeah, everything. So
yeah.
But yeah, that's not bad. Maybe you get there too. Do like a Hitchcock thing. You know.
Something to think about, but I don't know if I could like actually act.
Well,
you could probably do it. Just, raise your hand. You get that.
Yeah, like you always do.
I'll ask myself, who wants to star in this? I'll be like,
yeah, right. It seems like it's been working out so far. So
yeah,
keep
always
doing that.
Always raise your hand. Always throw your hat in.
Nice.
Yeah.
Would you like we're talking about like before the culture on set and stuff like that? For your short film, is there anything that you're gonna implement from like
no yelling
you could do? Yeah, right.
No yelling. I'm sorry. Like the moment that somebody on any of, like if it was my set, right? Like as a supervising producer, field producer, whatever, you're working on someone else's set, right? Even if you're in charge that second, you're not in charge. But if it's my show, it's my money, and it's all me, if I see anybody raise their voice at someone, you're out.
Nice.
I'm sorry. Like I just...
What happens if that's you? Like it's like the heat of the moment thing, and you're like, "Fuck!"
And we're all guilty of it.
No, yeah,
I'm guilty of it for sure. Like I've done it when I was younger. Like I've lost my cool on one person.
Tim?
No, but he doesn't count anyway. Like we're getting married. I can lose my cool all day long on that man, and I do, unfortunately. No, I lost my cool when I was doing 50 Central on a wardrobe person. In my defense, I did try to walk away from it multiple times. I was like, we'll circle back. Like, I just need to go over here. And they were just like, don't turn your back when I'm talking to you. And I was like,
trigger.
I tried. And
that's like that energy clash. You can't really do much about that. It's like,
especially when they poke you. Like,
well, it's like when both people like, no, we're not finding the middle ground. It's like you want to just keep going at it. It happens. Yeah. I mean, especially when you spend so long on set with people too.
Yeah, we're all guilty of it
for the most part.
Yeah.
Yes. So yeah, that is the one time. But I did like, even in my rage, I still managed to like take her. I was like, let's take this outside, like away from the crew.
Oh shit! You said let's take this outside.
No, but I really didn't want to like scream at somebody in front of the whole crew. Like, I just think that's very unprofessional. So we did like go around, walked away, like went on a walk, and then like I just lost it a little bit. Like I was like, I don't know how many times you want me to like tell you the same thing over and over again. Like it is what it is. Like this is what we did. And so snapped a little bit, but that was the only time.
Well, we're all human, so
yes, we are.
I was like 23 at the time. I'm a little bit older now, a little bit wiser. We all make mistakes.
That's true. Well, it looks like you're on the right path, and then with everything that's from the beginnings to now, it seems like your instincts are serving you well.
I get, who knows? We'll see. Yeah. You never know.
Never know. Anything else you wanna bring up? Any other story you got that you want to tell?
God, I have so many stories. I just don't even know.
Well, I mean, I want to, at least take a moment to like thank you for like sharing what you shared earlier, because it's very brave for somebody to do that. Like, sometimes it could be a little bit private, but like I'm sure like there are people out there who like when they hear it, they could find some sort of empathy or like some sort of relation to that. So thanks for sharing.
Yeah, you're welcome, and thanks for hearing it for sure. I will say, I was apprehensive about talking about it just because I don't normally tell people right off the bat, because I do feel like although so many people do deal with addiction, like there is somehow still a stigma attached to it that like if you were someone that has gone through that, you'll probably do it again, or like like there's these negative judgments even if you have 12 years clean like I do. you know? Like people will still be like, oh my God, she's what? So yeah, like I do want to destigmatize addiction. Like it would be nice for people to just be allowed to be like, yeah, this is something that I went through, and
yeah,
here I am on the other side.
No, I mean, that's good for people to know. I mean, I've been around addiction my entire life with different things and friends, and not all of them have turned into a success story. So
yeah, likewise.
It's always good. Like anytime you have that thing that you can overcome, I mean, it's good for people to know, because there could be people that don't want to talk about it, and they're just like, I feel like I'm the only one, but there's a lot of people that have those problems that we don't necessarily talk about. So
yeah,
it's just good.
What is it they say in recovery? It's addiction is like a fungus; it grows in the dark. So if you don't shed light on it, if you don't talk about it, then it's just growing inside you. So yeah, like the more people talk about it, I think the more it'll help.
Yeah, and you're doing it. So thank you for that.
For you, and I'm proud of you.
Yes, right.
That's awesome.
Thank you.
Any advice you want to leave off with besides that? Just like in life or people for production,
Yeah. It's advice that I wish I could take myself and that I try to take myself. So, like, I just think people just need to like go for it, like follow your dreams. Imposter syndrome, we all have it. It's really hard, I think, to like think of yourself in a way that you're like, if you're thinking about your goals, sometimes it's hard to be like, oh, I can imagine myself getting there. Like maybe I don't deserve this, whatever. I think that like you should just go for it. If you don't raise your hand, if you don't go for it, if you don't make that step, then you won't get there. And I think in this industry, it's like, yeah, be the PA that talks to the guy, like be the person that raises your hand, be the person that like tries. Like you have to put yourself out there, even though it's hard.
Cool.
Love it.
Yeah. Perfect.
I'm gonna try to take that advice.
I know it's really hard. Like even for people like us who have been doing this for a long time, like you do get a little,
Still get a little anxious about those things. But yeah. That's awesome. Thank you, Haz.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
This whole conversation.
Thank you for being such a beautiful guest and telling your story.
Yes.
Awesome. Thank you for having me. Of course. This was fun.
We're going to cut and then we're going to shoot the shit a little bit. So hang on.
Okay, great.
Bye, everybody.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.